Ladies and gentlemen, it's Thanksgiving, and we've decided to lay down some truth about where this holiday really comes from. Stick around for Talk is Cheap. Greetings, planet Earth and beyond. My name is Pete Halbleib, coming at you with another great episode of Talk is Cheap. It's Thanksgiving, and you know, I am thankful we have a special guest tonight, Mr. Sean Spicer. Actually, it's just Dan Hohlfeld, like normal. Doing the Spicer impression with our festive Thanksgiving decoration.
The Spicer dance.
The Spicer dance.
Speaking of Spicer, he's on Dancing with the Stars. He is a horrible dancer, but he's sticking right in there.
He hasn't been voted off the island yet?
No, I think I YouTubed it, and he's got there was 4 of them, I think he did. I don't know if they eliminate after every... I don't watch the show, folks. I just watched that clip because I thought it'd be funny to see Spicer dance, but yeah, he's horrible, and it's...
But he's still hanging out.
He's got a babe with him dancing.
Oh, yeah. Those professional dancers, they're in good shape, and they tend to be somewhat attractive.
But Pete, speaking of attractive, what do you think about this?
Oh, yes.
Oh, that's quite the zucchini. Where'd you get that, Dano?
I don't know. I just found it laying in the house, and I was like, well, I'm going to use this as a prop for the show.
Yeah, well, that's, that's a bountiful harvest there. Sorry. You're so weird, Dan.
It's big.
That's what she said.
What are you going to use that for?
I'll probably throw it after the show.
You think so? You should take a big old bite of it to see if it's any good.
I'm not that
crazy about
zucchini. Raw.
Yeah.
You'd have to have it with some decent
dressing or dipping sauce or something. All right.
I mean, it's like
I thought maybe that we could add a little bit of Fear Factor to the show, and
it gets messy too, though.
Yeah, it can be.
You can decorate the set here with it if I can make it balance a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of goofy though.
It's not so much of a bountiful harvest if you're just going to pitch it over the.
When they get that big, they're just.
You can make bread out of them. Is about it. Yeah, they're not good for
zucchini,
slicing and stuff. Yeah,
maybe I will try to make bread out of it. That's a good idea.
Yeah,
I haven't had that in a while.
Yeah, it's usually good. So Dan,
definitely.
Oh, we got a call. Should we listen to that?
Well, yeah, let's listen to the call. I'm thankful that we have a call.
I didn't even have it up, but get it up.
Brian or Brain?
Spell checkers. Okay, it should be Brian. I'm sorry.
Okay, sorry, Brian from California.
Dang it.
With some of our listeners, though.
That's why it didn't come up, because brain is a real word, too.
Yeah.
I get, sometimes when you're doing production, you get in a hurry with stuff, so you just, and then stuff like this happens.
Yeah, well, good. At least we caught it. Brian from California, what do you got to say?
Hi, this is Brian Stanbro. I'm from California. I'm 60 years old, and I'm disabled. I really enjoy your show.
Thanks, Brian.
You know what would be interesting to me? Would be to see more of where you live, to see the area, to see your homes, to see where you actually live, and to kind of go through it. And then also any local legends or spooky stories or scary stories. Local lore. Take us to some local places. Okay, just a suggestion.
Well, I like it. And Brian, I will be a little honest. I was a little creeped out at the beginning there, asking to show us our homes and stuff. But I like you brought it back. I see where you're going. And it's funny because Dan and I were talking earlier about some our next big excursion extravaganza. And I'd like to keep it a little local next year. And I think that we'll be able to get some good local stuff for you. So
yeah. So speaking of local stuff, if you haven't seen our Bigfoot episode, that was local.
Yep, that was right up in the KVR.
2 years ago, I think. Was it It's been that long?
Yeah, it wasn't this summer. It was the summer before, about a year and a half ago.
Last summer we did ECETI, or this last summer.
Yeah. So, 2 summers ago we did the Bigfoot expedition.
Yeah. And then before that, Andrew and I did the Paulding Light up in, that was, I guess you could say, somewhat local. We were up in northern Michigan there. And so that was
in the UP.
I thought that was a well-edited episode. I took a lot of work on doing that.
Yeah, it was very well put together. If you haven't seen that episode, that's good. The Bigfoot episode's good too. I liked that. You did excellent work.
With the ECETI, I decided to do a little different and do small sections here and there. So
there's 6, 8 different episodes or so.
I don't know. It's remember. Like people will have short attention spans, so it's, I don't know. What do you guys like, short or longer? Leave your comments below there and see what you like better, and maybe we'll take that in consideration for next year's trip.
Being that Halloween was just a couple weeks ago, Dan, a few weeks ago, I think we should go and look and see if we can maybe rustle up Boyd and get into a haunted house or something.
Ooh,
I think that would be fun.
That wouldn't be a bad idea.
Be an interesting new episode.
Yeah. After the equipment, we need to get the proof.
Not
this. Well, I guess the digital camera had some proof, but
proof is evidence. I would say evidence more than proof, but no, Boyd, who joined us about a year ago. He was with us, did a few episodes. Is really big in that stuff. He's got cool equipment and is quite knowledgeable. So maybe we can do something like that, or do something completely different. Who knows?
We'll have to see. We have to keep our ears open. I always thought, if you were willing to go to the Owastika down in Florida, but
what's that?
It's like a Native American thing where you drink the stuff.
Oh, and going like a vision quest kind of thing?
And then, you're going to shit your pants and you're going to throw up. Possibly. You don't have to. Some people don't.
Wait a minute. That sounds like just a normal Friday night for me, Dan. So why do I need to go to Florida to do that? Okay.
Think you can handle that?
We'll talk more on that. I don't know about drinking something that makes me shit and puke would be all that great, but it's
a cleansing, and then that's what gets you to, I don't know, we can talk about it. We don't have to do it. It was just an idea.
So Dan,
because people asked about it.
Yeah, no, let's keep it on the table. I'm up for anything. Keep an open mind. Maybe.
Yeah, so the number, if you guys want to leave a voicemail for us, don't be afraid. We had a nice few for the last few episodes. We had one for every show. That was great.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you, man. And it's nice to know that we got viewers out there that are engaged enough to give us some ideas and let us know what they're thinking. Yeah,
so that number is 1-256-510-5234, 1-256-510-5234, 1-256-510-K2D4, and just keep it to a minute or less, and we'll play it on the show for you and get you up.
Right on. So, Dan, Thanksgiving, did you have your big feast yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. Me neither. No. Another day or two yet.
Yeah.
So I don't really take Thanksgiving all too seriously anyway. But I do want to ask you.
I like the stuffing.
Yeah. Yep. I do too. And the gizzards.
Well, I'm on that diet yet, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
I've came from vegan to vegetarian, so I don't know if I'll go back or not.
Yeah, the pendulums.
I do miss the muscle mass. That kind of went away a little bit, and I want to build that back. But.
Yeah. Good red meat.
There you go.
I'll buy you a cow for Christmas. How's that sound? So, Dan.
Oh, yeah.
Question for you, sir. What are you thankful for?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like you don't want to be like one of those guys. I'm thankful for life. I'm thankful for the simple things that you can be, but are you really?
So, are you thankful for anything, Dan?
I try to be. Let's just put it that way.
Okay, good. Well, I'm thankful that we have this show.
There you go.
That we're hopefully helping people understand some of the weird stuff that's going on in the world and the galaxy and the solar system and open their minds. So I'm thankful for that. And I'm also thankful for, I guess, being in a first world country and having a roof over my head. So
that's a good point.
Simple things.
We take that for granted easily.
I haven't gone hungry in a long time, and I got clean water, so I am very thankful for that.
And when you sit and think, I try to do this once in a while too in the morning. You're supposed to do the affirmations every morning. I try to think about the running water. I can take a shower in the morning. A lot of people can't do that. It's right at your fingertips.
Yeah, easy.
Well,
push a button, a light comes on.
They consider it's magic,
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And, luxury item So we have it pretty good. So be thankful for that. Oh, that said, I'm going to lay some truth down about Thanksgiving.
Oh, boy.
Columbus Day was not too long ago. We refer to it now in Wisconsin as Indigenous Peoples Day.
Is that official?
Tony,
that's right. Yeah.
Our governor, Mr. Tony Evers, announced that Columbus Day is officially Indigenous Peoples Day. It is still a federal Columbus Day holiday, though, of course. But so
a bank holiday.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Basically, yeah. And anybody in a government job gets that day off. We don't, Dan. But Thanksgiving's got a lot of the same kind of stuff behind it. So, for those that have, had the luxury of being raised in public school system in the, 80s, and probably before and probably after, learned that Thanksgiving was about the Pilgrims. They sailed from England to escape religious persecution. Took them 2 months to get to America. They barely survived their first winter, and the only way that they were able to survive it was with the help of a friendly Wampanoag Indian named Squanto. That wasn't his real name. Taught them how to plant corn, how to fish, keep the other Indian tribes at bay so they wouldn't be attacked. And then they held this big celebration in 1621 where the Native Americans and the Pilgrims all got together, and they had this big feast, and everything was happy ever after. Everybody lived happily ever after.
Sounds great.
Yeah, right? We still celebrate it today. We sit around, big old turkey, and eat too much, watch football, and are really thankful that the Native Americans helped us out so we could populate and take over their country. So anyway, that's the story we're told, right, Dano?
But
Yep. But here's an interesting fact. Pilgrims landed on Plymouth Rock, right? And they're actually out east and somewhere in Pennsylvania, I think it is. They've got a big rock that they say this is Plymouth Rock. This is where that the Pilgrims landed. There was no mention of Plymouth Rock in any of the written history of the Pilgrims landing on America. So that came around much later in more of a regional oral history. So somebody decided that that's where they landed. So Plymouth Rock, sorry folks, no verifiable evidence. They actually landed at Plymouth Rock. Pilgrims, fact, they never actually called themselves Pilgrims. They were separatists. They weren't even so much as trying to escape religious persecution. They wanted to come over to the new land to make money and establish their own theocracy, their own hard and fast religion over here. So it was kind of the opposite of religious freedom. They wanted to get away from that and just start their own religion and keep it that way here. The first official Thanksgiving Day was proclaimed by Governor Winthrop of the Massachusetts Bay Colony in 1637. Okay, that's when they said this is officially the Thanksgiving Day. Well, the first unofficial Thanksgiving Day was held in 1621 in October, and that was following the landing of the Mayflower, the Pilgrims, at Plymouth Rock, the Separatists on the East Coast on the Mayflower, and it was to allegedly celebrate a successful harvest. So 1637 is when it was kind of more officially claimed as Thanksgiving, but it actually happened 16 years earlier. 1621 is when the first unofficial one took place.
You said October?
Yep.
Yeah,
in October.
We used to celebrate it in November is what they changed it to.
Yep.
Is there a reason for that?
Yes, kind of, and I'll get into that in a little bit. There kind of is, but don't let me forget that point. Here's an interesting fact. Thanksgiving was already a celebration and an ancient concept to the Native Americans. They had been celebrating their version of Thanksgiving for hundreds of years. So this was not something that was created by the European settlers. The natives had been doing it. Here's another interesting fact. Plymouth was already a village with cleared fields and a spring when the Pilgrims/Separatists found it. Okay? There's a reason why it was cleared out and it was nice water. And that reason is the Native Americans that had been living in Plymouth and this site had all died from smallpox and the plagues that were introduced by European cattle the years preceding the Pilgrims' arrival. Because remember, 1492 is when Columbus landed. There was European presence between 1492 and 1621. You got 130 years passed. And so we brought in cattle, people. We made all the natives sick. Natives were so susceptible to smallpox that 90% of them died when they contracted the disease. Wow. Compare that to in the middle of the Black Plague, when a roughly 30% of the population would die if they got it. So they were extremely susceptible to it. But what a great strategy, right? You go in, you make them sick, and you can take over their settlements, right? And you don't have to clear. You don't have to clear forests. There's already water sources. So that's interesting. About the dinner, right? What do we eat? We eat sweet potatoes, we eat turkey, stuffing, all that fun stuff, right? There was none of that stuff at the first Thanksgiving. There was no turkey, there's no squash, no cranberries or pumpkin pies. More likely they had things like goose and duck and venison, corn mush and stewed pumpkin, or the traditional Wampanoag succotash, which I'm not exactly sure what that is. I was going to look that up and I totally forgot.
You should have made it for the show.
Yeah, I could have made some succotash. Well, isn't succotash rabbit?
I'll look it up.
No, that's Hassenpfeffer. Huh. Anyway, you work on that. I'll continue talking. Okay. Also, grapes and melons may have been available. Okay. So these Pilgrims, the separatists, were Puritans. They were led by Miles Standish. The funny thing is that the whole point about the Indians, I hope I don't offend anybody by calling them Indians. When I was doing the research, the term's been interchangeable. I was actually on a native site. They referring to them as Indians. So I'm going to try, and I mean no offense by that. And aware that some people may be offended, but tough crap. Okay, so anyway, what's unique about it, at this first Thanksgiving, these Puritans built an 11-foot wall around Plymouth settlement to keep the natives out. They didn't want them there. And this is where it gets a little muddy. They're not sure if the natives crashed the party and just showed up, or if like at last minute they were invited or something like that. Nobody's really sure. If they don't think they were invited. They think they just kind of showed up for the celebration. And according to the research I did, there was twice as many natives at this feast than there were Pilgrims. When the Mayflower landed, there were 102 people on board. Through the first winter, about half of them survived. So there was only about 50 left in the spring of the next year. So 50 of them then made it through that summer, planted their corn, caught their fish, and had a harvest, and celebrated that in 1621. No written record actually showed any natives were invited to this, so that's why they think maybe they crashed it. But what they do agree on is that the Wampanoag and Squanto, real name being Tisquantum, did help them out, taught them how to grow corn, how to fish, and as well as acted as a translator. The reason why I was able to act as a translator, in 1614, Squanto was captured and was taken to Spain as a slave for 5 years, and then was brought back in 1619 to the colonies to do work there. And then, so he wasn't really even necessarily just a native tribe member that came out of the woods. He had been a slave for 7 years prior to him coming up with making contact with the Pilgrims.
He must have been good at his work if they decided to contract him back to
I don't think there was a contract per se, but yeah, I'm guessing that they taught him some words and he was able to translate. There's a group that calls itself the United American Indians of New England, say that in return for the natives' generosity in teaching them how to fish and grow corn and survive, is that they repaid them by stealing their food and robbing their graves for artifacts and stuff. So I think we all know how it played out long term, and we, the Europeans, ended up just taking all their land and killing and displacing most of them, which I apologize for. Okay, so 1620. That was 1621, right? We survived the first winter. The natives helped us out. We had a feast. We did have a feast with them. Whether they were invited or not, we're not sure. And then turned around and basically stabbed them in the back. So fast forward, 1637, when the proclamation that this is Thanksgiving, we're calling this Thanksgiving. In 1637, it wasn't so much to celebrate that the natives had helped us in this great relationship we have with the natives. It was to celebrate the return of Plymouth Colony's men from what is now Mystic, Connecticut, after they went and butchered 700 native men, women, and children.
Butchered,
killed them, burned them, clubbed them, killed them.
Okay, so killed, not like butcher as in eating.
Eating, no, but butcher as in killed. Yes. So Governor Winthrop said, we're calling this Thanksgiving for the safe return of our men after committing genocide on this group of, I think they're Pequot Indians, upriver from them, basically. So they came back to celebrate the brutal massacre of a group of Indians, and now that's what we're calling Thanksgiving. Oopsie.
I thought you had an iPad there.
Yeah, I don't have. I got a touch screen at home, and so I do it all the time. So fast forward again, 1789, George Washington declared November 26th a national day of Thanksgiving, celebrating the survival of a fledgling nation. So basically, now you're 160 years later, and George Washington says, here's a day of Thanksgiving. In 1863, another 70 years, Abraham Lincoln officially made it a holiday. So we just went 240 years from the official first Thanksgiving to when it was federally recognized as Thanksgiving. A lot of time passed there.
Yeah.
What's interesting as well is when I was reading is that they would have these Thanksgiving feasts regularly throughout the year to celebrate massacring Native Americans. So when it was quite common on these different, in these different colonies along the coast, that when they would go and eradicate the natives, and take their land and take their stuff, they would come back and have a large feast and call it Thanksgiving to celebrate that.
So how did you get this source for how do you know that this is accurate?
I was there. No, I'm just kidding. Google it. There's a lot of what I would consider reputable websites that cover that. New York Times. There's a lot of Native American websites that cover this stuff as well. So, do some research. You can and tell me I'm wrong and show me the evidence that it indeed was this good, happy.
This is the big problem with history stuff. It's just.
Yeah, how
do you really verify? It's got to be.
Yep. Many indigenous people actually on this day, they call it a day of mourning and will fast in remembrance of what the Europeans did to their ancestors and the destruction of their culture and their people. So, Dan, I don't want to seem like it's a big bummer or anything like that.
It sounds like it is.
It kind of is, but I don't want to take away necessarily that if, Thanksgiving's here, man, it's not going anywhere for a long time. But keep that in mind of really why Thanksgiving's there, but don't forget to be thankful for the things you have.
Well, I think when you think about what it's developed into, and it's just more about being thankful and having your family and eating food, no one thinks about genocide when they talk about the
but they think about, what a great, way the colonizers came in and worked with the Indians. That is just patently false. Don't forget that, we did some horrible things to the people in this country when we got here. And so take time to be thankful, but take time to be respectful and maybe, put that into perspective with it. With your turkey drumstick that you may or may not eat because you're a vegetarian.
Stuffing, though.
Stuffing,
I'll take the stuffing, please.
That sounds good.
So I guess that, overall, when you look into a lot of these national holidays, you can probably find stuff like that, right? But exactly. Yeah, Thanksgiving is not the Pilgrims and Indian stuff that we were taught in school. Surprise, surprise, right, Dan?
The indoctrination camp where they tell you how to think and
and what not to think. And then it carries over in life. When you get out of that, then they throttle you on YouTube if you talk about too much stuff.
And socialism is good and communism is good and free market is bad.
Yeah. Well, I'm not I digress. I'm not going to get into that.
You're a socialist.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. But there is ruthless capitalism, and just I'm not a big fan of.
No, it could be better, but
out of control capitalism. Not at all. So Dan, that's what I had on Thanksgiving. A little short episode here, I guess. Now that I'm through it. Oh, succotash, yes.
Look at that. It's not too bad. So we've got a dish containing of sweet corn, lima beans, and other shell beans.
Oh, hell, you'd eat that.
I would.
Yeah, well, I'll have to make some sometime. Bring it down for us.
Don't look like it'd be terribly difficult.
No, and it looks. I would eat that too. That looks good.
High in all essential amino acids.
Oh, and you know how important it is to get amino acids.
Absolutely.
Yep. Well, ladies and gentlemen of planet Earth and beyond, whether you celebrate Thanksgiving as a day of mourning or a day of reckoning or thanks, I just want to wish everybody the best from Talk is Cheap, and don't eat too much or don't fast too long.
Thanks for listening. Visit k2d4network.com today.